The first time I noticed something was off. It was her laughter. Not the joyful kind. Low, halting, like something breaking apart inside her chest. I'd hear it late at night, always coming from the living room, a sound that made my skin crawl even though I couldn't say why. The kind of laughter that stops your heart mid-beat and leaves you frozen, listening to silence that feels heavier than the sound itself. When I asked her about it the next morning, she'd pause mid-bite of her cereal, fork suspended in air like time had stuttered. "Laughter," she'd say, searching my face like I was speaking a foreign language. "I haven't laughed at all. You've been working so much. Stress, maybe." She wasn't wrong. I'd been pushing myself hard at the firm, burning through 12-hour days until my mind felt like static on an old television. But it wasn't just the laughter. Small things started piling up like evidence I didn't want to see. Missing books that would reappear days later in different rooms. Furniture shifted just enough to catch my peripheral vision. Lights blazing when I was certain I'd turned them off. Each morning brought a new impossibility. Each evening brought fresh doubt. "Are you reorganizing the house?" I asked one evening, standing in our living room where the bookshelf looked somehow wrong, like a puzzle with pieces forced into place by impatient hands. "I haven't touched it," Sarah replied from the kitchen, but there was something brittle in her voice, a note that might have been fear or guilt or something else entirely. Her wedding ring clinked against her coffee mug as her hands trembled slightly. I brushed it off. What else could I do? When your world starts tilting sideways, you either acknowledge the fall or pretend the ground is still level. The tipping point came last Tuesday. I woke at 3:17 a.m., the numbers burned red on the clock, to a sound like fingernails on concrete, deliberate and methodical. Sarah's side of the bed was cold, empty. I found her in the basement, crouched over the floor like some feral thing, carving symbols into the concrete with a screwdriver. The harsh fluorescent light cast her shadow long and twisted across the walls. "What the hell are you doing?" The words tore from my throat. She turned slowly, as if surfacing from deep water. Her eyes were bloodshot, pupils dilated to pinpricks, her hands shaking so violently the screwdriver clattered to the floor. I don't know," she whispered, staring at her own hands like they belonged to someone else. "I woke up, and I was here. I don't remember coming down." The terror in her voice was real. The confusion was real. But so were the symbols carved into our basement floor, intricate patterns that looked like they meant something, even if I couldn't understand what. I pulled her upstairs, tucked her into bed, whispered reassurances about sleepwalking and stress. But something about her face, the way she looked at me like she was afraid, not of the dark or the basement, but of herself, made ice form in my veins. The next day, while she was at work, I searched our house like a crime scene. That's when I found them, 12 unmarked VHS tapes crammed into a shoebox in the dusty corner of our attic. My hands shook as I carried the first one downstairs to our old TV. What I saw made the world tilt sideways and refuse to right itself. It was me. Hours and hours of me, documented with obsessive precision. Sitting at my desk, unaware of watching eyes. Eating dinner, chewing mechanically while unseen cameras captured every swallow. Sleeping, my face slack and vulnerable, filmed from angles that shouldn't have been possible. The footage was shot from impossible places. Inside my office where no one else had access. Inside our car from the passenger seat when I was alone. From the corner of our bedroom where no camera could hide. Someone had been watching me live my life, recording my most mundane moments with the dedication of a scientist studying a lab rat. On one tape, I watched myself sitting on our couch, suddenly turning my head toward the doorway as if I'd heard something. The camera panned with predatory smoothness, following my gaze, and there was Sarah in the shadows, clutching that same screwdriver from the basement. But her face was twisted with terror, like she was looking at a monster wearing her husband's skin. The timestamp showed last week. I remembered that moment with crystal clarity. I'd thought I heard something, but when I looked, no one was there. My wife had been there, watching me, terrified of me. But if she was afraid, why was she the one holding the weapon? I confronted her that night, my voice cracking as I held up the tape. "Why are you recording me? How long has this been going on?" Her face crumpled, and for a moment she looked like the woman I married, vulnerable, lost, heartbreakingly human. "Recording you?" Tears spilled over. "You think I'm recording you? I found those tapes weeks ago. I thought you were the one." Her voice broke apart like glass hitting concrete. "You've been following me, documenting everything I do. I don't know why you're doing this to us." The accusation hit me like a physical blow. Following her? The idea felt absurd, impossible. But her terror was real, and doubt began eating at me like acid. She grabbed her keys and fled before I could respond, leaving me standing in our living room, holding evidence of something I couldn't remember doing, something that felt both foreign and familiar. There was still one tape left, the newest one. I played it with the sick fascination of someone probing their own wound. Dated yesterday, it showed me sitting at our kitchen table, writing in a composition notebook I'd never seen before. My handwriting covered page after page in neat, obsessive rows, each letter formed with mechanical precision. I watched myself write with the focused intensity of someone taking dictation. The man on the screen looked like me, moved like me. But there was something in his posture, something in the way he held the pen, that felt like watching a stranger wear my face. I tore through every drawer until I found the notebook hidden beneath the sink behind cleaning supplies. The pages were filled with meticulous logs of Sarah's movements, written in my unmistakable handwriting. 7:30 a.m., leaves for work, takes the blue Honda, route unchanged for 3 weeks. 12:15 p.m., returns for lunch, doesn't see me in the bushes by the kitchen window. 3:45 p.m., stops at pharmacy, buys sleeping pills, hands shake when she signs. 8:23 p.m., checks locks twice, then 3 times. She knows something is wrong. 11:23 p.m., gets up to check locks again. She's scared. Good. Each entry was precise, clinical, detailed in ways that suggested hours of observation. But I had no memory of writing any of it. The handwriting was mine, but the thoughts, the observations, the cruel satisfaction in that final word, they felt like they belonged to someone else entirely. The final entry, dated today, made my blood freeze. Tomorrow, she'll leave. Don't stop her. The real work begins when she's gone. Note, hide the tapes. She's getting suspicious. Note, the basement carvings were sloppy. Practice more precision. I read the words over and over, hoping they would change, hoping they would reveal themselves as some elaborate hallucination. But they remained, written in my own hand, confessing to surveillance I couldn't remember. The next morning, Sarah's closet was empty. She'd taken everything as if she'd never lived there at all. The only thing she'd left behind was a single piece of paper on her pillow, 4 words scrawled in handwriting that looked like mine but felt wrong. "Who is watching you?" I ran back to the attic, desperate to review the evidence, to make sense of what was happening. The shoebox was there, exactly where I'd found it. But every tape was blank, hours of static on each one, as if they'd been wiped clean. But I remembered what I'd seen. The images were burned into my memory with perfect clarity. Didn't I? That night, I woke to the sound of laughter from the living room. Low, halting. My laughter. I found myself standing in the kitchen at 3:17 a.m., holding a pen I didn't remember picking up. A new notebook lay open on the counter. My handwriting was already filling the first page, flowing across the paper with mechanical precision. She's gone. but the patterns remain. Someone is still watching. Tonight I'll check the basement. The symbols need to be deeper, more precise. Tomorrow, install new equipment. The house must be completely observed. Note: the laughter is getting stronger. It knows I'm close to understanding. The pen in my hand is writing, and I cannot control my hand.